Hey, what is up, you guys? Cocosing Valley Motor Railroad speaking. Well, as some of you may know, you've seen this engine in the pictures on Facebook. This is my Clinchfield #1 Manitoba steam locomotive, one of the better models. And this engine here is going through a motor work on and cleanup. This is one of the newer ones with the can motor edition. Same with my Manitoba articulated engine. I've got an articulated steam engine. It's got the same motor drive. And then here's one of the old Tyco bicentennial engines. Now I've got a complete train set it runs with this engine here. And the chassis is identical to the older engine. I mean, same exact chassis. This with, a little bit better running gear, and it's a little more smoother, I should say, than most of the other engines, because it's got the can motor design. So my plan is to convert this newer Manitoba engine, which was it's a limited run locomotive. My thinking is to convert this engine into DCC and sound, which I think will be really cool to run. There's plenty of room in the tender to fit the speaker and the decoder. The engine itself, it won't be too hard to wire it up for DCC because everything is insulated on the motor, which makes it really nice for a change. So it's going to be a fun project to get this thing running on DCC and sound. We'll be still keeping the original light bulbs in this engine, so when I wire this thing up, I'll have the original light bulbs still on it. So looking at the Digitrax sound bug, or whatever the system is called, the sound decoder they have, I went through some of their whistles and I found one. It was very, very good for a locomotive like this type of era, 1800s type engine. The engine was built in 1882 for the Clinchfield Railroad, but was moved to the Pennsylvania Railroad and a bunch of other things. But eventually this locomotive will be in service on the Cocosing Valley Central Railroad Club layout. The locomotive will be getting Katy couplers and knuckle couplers on the whole thing, from the front coupler to the back coupler. The club president, we were talking about what should we run behind this engine when I get it converted to run, and he suggested a tourist train operation for this locomotive. Um, so eventually I'll find a fireman I can put behind the engine. But I really like this engine. It's one of the better ones. Most people will say, some engines might be better than some of the old ones are, but I always say the old ones sometimes beat the new ones. But in this case, the can motor in this thing is better than the old one is. But you get them running really good. These old Tycos and these newer Manitobas, not hard to keep them running, but I always like a good challenge to keep these good engines running. So a couple updates on these engines here. I'll be doing videos posting on the upgrading this engine to the DCC and sound. And when I saw the headlight on this engine, I was like, holy smokes, I know what type of headlight that is. I saw this at my local auction house and paid a good amount of money for this engine. So I'm happy to have the Clinchfield engine in my collection. You guys have a wonderful night. This is Cocosing Valley Motor Railroad signing out, and whatever everybody's day is doing, and whatever everybody else is doing. But just have a wonderful day, wonderful night, whatever you guys are doing. We'll see you next time out on the rails.